Well, we're live once again. It's Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. And that's time for the Squared Circle Maniacs Pro Wrestling Podcast, Don. This is Don Wayne, my co-host. I'm Johnny Bottles. And we're going to get right into it. We are busy. It's been a busy week for the world of professional wrestling. I will say that. And a pretty bad one at that. But the big news is that we have going on right now is All In. Or should I say, Brawl In. Because they're fighting already backstage.
I love it. You know,
it's fantastic.
Like George Foreman and Muhammad Ali. CM Punk is punching everything.
Some people will never, ever learn. And
why?
They don't realize that, Don, let's tell the people who are not informed.
Yes, let's inform them. Before we get started, though, real quick, shout out to Motorhead who couldn't be here. He's got a family emergency. Prayers and well wishes are from Motorhead. God bless you, brother.
He's got a family emergency in regarding to his father, who is,
yes,
from what I understand, from what I've seen, the toughest man alive. So
might be. I'm not fighting the guy.
Yep, I'm not fighting him either. Bad man. Oh, we got somebody here right now. Who do we have? We've got Larry, the Hitman. Good day, lads. Good day, Larry. Ron's here. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ron.
So for those of you that don't know, apparently Jungle Boy, a.k.a. Jack Perry, looked in the camera during his live match and said, it's real glass. And what else was it? Something about something unfriendly? It was something he said about it's real glass and some shit. Talking trash to CM Punk, and then, well, here we go. Goes backstage, gets in CM Punk's face, and CM Punk almost chokes him out.
He was on the pre-show wrestling Hook, and by the way, he lost his FTW title back to Hook, and
the one that means nothing.
It's just a useless thing. It's a trinket that they're fighting over. You had to have an excuse for the feud to break the two up. They were a good tag team together. They complemented each other well, but they're both green as grass. And the best thing for those two is to put them each with an established veteran in a tag team. Put Hook with Keith Lee or anybody. Put Jungle Boy with another heel. Pair him up with Christian Cage. Let them tag together.
What he got tagged up with was a choke, bitch, going down. If you're going to talk shit, there's going to be repercussions. And this is my issue with a lot of the people in the world now. They think they can say whatever they want and nobody's ever going to smack them in the mouth. He tried it with CM Punk. I guess these guys aren't going to learn with CM Punk. He's not bullshitting. He will choke you out. He will punch you in the face. He'll bite you. The man will bite you. That's where we are.
The AEW locker room is filled with a bunch of kids from the indies who've never done anything. And they really don't know the way around a locker room with veteran talent in there. They refuse to listen to the veteran talent. 6 weeks ago, I believe it was the first episode of Collision, Jungle Boy Jack Perry was scheduled for a match. And there was going to be some backstage hoopla where somebody was going to go through some broken glass.
Real glass.
Real glass. He wanted to use real glass. And Punk was told about the situation. Punk said, you can't use real glass. Use the gimmick glass. If we would have known you were going to do this, we would have ordered gimmick glass. That's no problem. We could get it here in an hour. But, we didn't. Well, I'm going to use the glass. No, you're not using the glass. So him and Perry got into an argument, and Perry was asked to leave that episode of Collision. He was sent home.
Yes.
And they exchanged words, and a round of FUs was exchanged because no one who is new to the pro wrestling business wants to listen to a man who's done it for 20 years. And more of the same today, like Don said earlier, Jack Perry said it's real glass, blah, 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 mouthed off on camera to the camera. Knowing Punk was backstage, Punk was in the very next match. The first match of the actual show was Punk versus Samoa Joe. So when Perry got done looking at the lights, laying on his back in the ring, he walked backstage, and Punk's there with Joe, and they're getting ready to go out. And Perry went right into Punk's face and stood there, and as he went by, he gave him the old shoulder check.
As reported.
Knocked him out of the way.
Reportedly, might we add. We weren't there, but that's what's being reported.
That's what's being reported by Fightful and Sean Ross Sapp.
Is he doing cocaine currently?
He probably is. He's probably too. He does that a lot in text messages. But anyway, he Jack Perry shoulder checked Punk. Punk pushed him. He came at Punk. And I will say, Punk's got a better record in backstage brawls in UFC because he won this when he got Jack Perry in a rear naked choke and choked it out of him. And he went down and he broke it up. And Punk went out all warmed up now for his match with Samoa Joe.
You know what they need to do? They need to get rid of that FTR belt, get rid of that, and get a BSB belt, a backstage brawl. Because Punk is undefeated at whooping candy asses backstage. Get rid of the FTW belt, bring in the backstage brawl belt, and let's have at it. Let's have a real belt that means something in this company.
So Jungle douche Jack Perry got called. He got the finger called over to the side, and he was sent home. Pack your shit. You're out the door. So nice. He was sent home. There's probably going to be some sort of repercussions towards Jack Perry, some sort of reprimand, administrative fines or whatever. It's got to be. It's got to be.
It's not going to go unpunished. It's not going to go unpunished.
Right. But PW Insider is reporting that Punk started it with Perry. So as of right now, we'll wait till the esteemed wrestling analyst Dave Mumbles Meltzer chimes in on this.
Well, you know where he's going to go already. I don't even have to read his report to hear that he's going to say Punk came at him, threw a dog, 3 babies, and then attacked him. It's going to be the worst thing you ever read. Babies are getting thrown. Chairs are coming in hot. Belcher's going to say it all went down. CM Punk is the worst thing ever.
He ran over a gaggle of nuns in a golf cart.
Yes.
How's that?
He pulled a motorhead. He started running over hobos in San Francisco.
He ran over the hobos in San Francisco. No, actually, what I believe the esteemed wrestling analyst Dave Meltzer, well, he's not suckling from the hind teat of Jack Perry, much like he's suckling from the hind teat of the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. He's got no skin in any kind of game with Jack Perry, no allegiance to him, because Punk's more of an established name. I'm sure he doesn't like Punk, but I'm sure he might pick Punk's side in this. Now, you cannot tell me that CM Punk does not have some sort of administrative title in AEW.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I mean, it would make all the sense in the world because of some of the comments he made as far as I'm trying to run a business here and so forth and so on. But whatever happened backstage, you can't have that happening at your biggest pay-per-view ever. You're going to try to start a backstage brawl at your biggest pay-per-view ever. Come at the star that's going on next, which that belt, they're actually going to do something with that. I'm actually surprised that nobody has an issue with Punk coming out with the other world title. That's an interesting concept to me because I thought for sure they'd have shit all over that and stop that dead in its tracks.
Well, once MJF loses today to that backstabbing Adam Cole, I'm sure there'll be a title unification match.
Well, they're the new champs. They're the new Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champs, whatever the hell those titles mean.
Hang on a second. Here's Scud chimes in. Woo! How you doing, Scud?
So I'm trying to check now on the live stream they got going on because I know you saw the women's match. I believe is over now.
Yes, Saraya won the women's. We'll just run down the whole thing right now. I got to pull it up already. But
yeah, go ahead, do it. Buddy.
Ron says Jungle Boy has a reputation of being an asshat backstage. He really likes Hook. And Hook is not long for this AEW world. I'll tell you why. Because his own father said in an interview, not with a Meltzer type, but with like Sports Illustrated or a reputable website, magazine, he said that when he leaves, I hope he goes to the WWE. That's what he said.
Good.
Nothing like they'll treat him better there. He's got to mind his P's and Q's, but he did hope his son actually goes to the WWE. And you're right about that, Ron. Rick Lib says, "What's up, mates?" And Ron said, I bet it was a 5-star brawl. I'm sure renowned
there's no way. There's no way. It didn't involve the Bucks. He's going to give it 3.5 stars no matter what.
You're right about that, buddy.
If it was the Bucks, it'd be 6 stars. 7 at a Tokyo Dome.
You're right about that, buddy.
I'm running it down now. So the Young Bucks put them over. Young Bucks put over FTR. Good for them. I'm glad to see
Surprisingly
it.
enough, and when they went to do the handshake at the end of the match, the FTR approached the Young Bucks with their hands out for a shake, and they were refused. The Bucks snubbed them and got out of the ring. CM Punk beat Samoa Joe with a Pepsi plunge. So was that actually for the ROH title? No, it was for the real AEW World Championship.
The real X Bucks. It's real. I put an X on it because I'm hardcore.
I guess Punk jerked the curtain and opened the show so that he can, be ready for that media scrum at the end. I can't wait to see that. As soon as this podcast is over, I'm going on YouTube because, folks, the AEW media scrum is free, and they leave it up so you can just go back in and watch it like midnight tonight if you want to. It's free on YouTube.
If they would put a camera backstage during these brawls, I'd buy the pay-per-view just to watch that shit go down. That'd be worth the price of admission alone. I'd pay $50 a month easily if I could see these guys go at it.
I just realized something, Don. The background I have here says the home of the Square Circle Mafia. I have to change that.
Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, so we are aware of that, folks. Don't chime in and say, "Hey, you got Mafia back there." We are aware. Let's say the next match: Hangman Adam Page and the Golden Lovers, Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi versus Bullet Club Gold.
Yeah, 2-1.
Jay White,
just
Juice Robinson, Kaneshika Takeshita.
Got it. He won.
And of course, Callis came out. He's on. Donna Callis is on the announced team, chiming in. And let's see what happens here. Bullet Club Gold and Takeshita won by pinfall.
There you go.
They actually pinned Kenny Omega.
And if we're going to start talking about Kenny Omega matches, I'm going to have a beer because my nerves
wrestled a 9-year-old girl. He wrestled a sex doll. He wrestled another guy in thongs and put his hands up another guy's ass crack.
Yeah, I know.
That's available for your. Yeah, that's available for your pleasure.
Beer for the working man.
Yeah. And going down the line right now, this is off of Cage Side Seats. This is where I'm getting the results from their All-In Wembley blog. FTR, we did say, beat the Young Bucks. Best Friends, Don, have you heard? The Best Friends and Orange Cassidy, Eddie Kingston, the Butcher, of course.
I heard.
And Penta El Zero.
Yep, I heard Cassidy. I heard Cassidy got the pin over Moxley. So
yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Another swing of that because that's hard to say.
And the great Eddie Kingston, the wrestling butcher, was in the match, and he was just doing his usual. Shout out to Francis the Genius, as he's.
That was a great quote. That was a great quote.
Hit him with the quote, Don.
So he's sitting there watching the Butcher wrestle. I don't know if it was Saturday or Wednesday night.
It was Saturday night. The Butcher, the Blade, and somebody else wrestled Kingston and Cassidy.
And the guy, he says, the Butcher looks like a pro wrestler. Eddie Kingston looks like a real butcher. Tremendous quote.
Tremendous quote. Here's the ladies' match. Britt Baker, DMD, the queen of the AEW women's locker room. She's the best female wrestler there. You ask her, she'll tell you. And Hikaru Shida and Saraya and Toni Storm, 2 members of the Outcast, by the way, Don. They had a 4-way women's match for the AEW Women's World title. It's amazing that Statlander, who was the TBS champion, the secondary women's belt, was not included in this match. And I can't understand why.
I think they were only having 1 women's match, wasn't it, this week?
Right, but why wouldn't you have the woman who has the other title in this match? Because she's the second best women's wrestler. I don't know. Who are we to figure out the rest?
I don't work there, man. I can barely watch it as it is.
It's a shit show. But anyway, of course, we all knew this. Saraya, formerly Paige of the WWE, has won the AEW Women's Championship in her hometown, and her family came to the ring, and they stood in the ring as she celebrated. The Knight family, a family of notorious wrestling grifters who aren't exactly the greatest people to run a wrestling promotion, an independent wrestling promotion in London, in Britain. Christian Cage and Shane Swerve Strickland versus Darby Allin and Sting in a coffin match. And it's just a match just flung together at the last minute. Christian Cage was inserted to this. They threw AR Fox out of the whole thing. I don't understand why. What happened there? Maybe he's hurt. I'm not sure. Anyway, Scorpion death drop on the coffin on Swerve by Sting. And as he was trying to close the lid on Swerve, he put his hands in the gap between the lid and the actual frame to stay in the match. Swerve succeeded in that, but Sting pressed down the lid. Strickland halfway got out. He slams the lid down on his back. Coffin drop by Darby on the lid. It's over.
Oh, God.
So
I'm going to get drunk. We keep talking about AEW. I'm going to get hammered.
Almighty.
I can't talk about him no more. That's enough. We've covered enough of it because there's something juicy I want to get into.
Well, we got one more match.
Oh, God. No, we don't.
We don't have the main event. That's not up yet.
Yeah.
We've got the Ocho.
Don't even care. Yeah, don't care. Is that over? Is it over?
It's over. Ospreay won.
Thank God.
He beat Jericho. Apparently, there were shenanigans with Sammy Guevara involved in the match, trying to help Chris. And after the match, Chris shoved Sammy away when he tried to comfort him after the match. Two guys who were heels like a month ago. I just don't understand any of this.
I can't get into any of it. I can't. What I wanted to talk about, what's itching to get out of my brain and onto this. Hulk Hogan was on a bunch of shows this week. Hasn't done interviews in forever. And I don't know if he's gotten dementia at this point in time or what the hell's going on with him, man. But some of the comments Hogan made are just, they're out of this world, dude. The one that got me was, I was on to Brock Lesnar in high school, and I was the one that was pulling for him to sign in wrestling in high school. I found him. What?
I like how he wrestled 400. I haven't heard that one, but I've heard there's so many. There's so many of these lies. He wrestled 400 days 1 year.
Yeah. Went back in time.
That was possible by going back and forth to Japan.
Yes, which is complete and utter bullshit. He said he found Brock Lesnar. He also said his match with The Rock was him passing the torch to The Rock. That's why he put him over. Hogan, I love you, buddy, but I don't think The Rock needed your rub there at that point in time.
Right. Hogan passes no torches. He passes no torches.
It was. He did say something, though, that caught my ear, and it was something I want to talk about as well. He talked about Roddy Piper and Roddy Piper's refusal to lose clean in the ring to him ever. Like it never happened, and he never did. It was always some screwy finish or something went wrong. So he said this part.
And hang on a second. And Piper was never in the title picture while Hogan had the belt.
No.
Since they couldn't agree on terms. Yeah.
So Hogan talked about this, and I always thought about it. And it brings me to the question is, Hogan said he talked to Roddy and said, hey, man, let me beat you clean in the ring. He said this to him years later. If you'd let me beat you clean in the ring, I could have told the old man he's willing to do the favors. I'm going to drop the strap back to him, and I'll be the one chasing for a while. We can draw a lot of money on this. And, that's one thing that I noticed in the Hogan run, and this sort of got me on this topic, is what two wrestlers that you've seen in your time being a fan do you feel like should have gotten the strap of any major corporation that never got it, right? Like they never had it. Roddy Piper never had it, and Hogan sort of took my thunder. I think he should have been one of the guys that got the world championship in the WWF and had him chase him at, say, WrestleMania 2 versus the shit show that they had that was that jumping from city to city nonsense. Because the next year you're doing the Giant. You're not getting away from that. But I feel like if they'd have done that, I think you might have had even more money poured in. It's hard to say because they had a shitload then. But Roddy having the belt and having Hogan chase somebody was something he never had in his career. He had it very rarely when he was actually chasing after the belt. So that was one that I came up with was, yes, he already let it. The other one I had, Razor Ramon should have gotten the belt. Scott Hall should have gotten it in WCW or WWF. He should have been the world champion of one of those organizations.
They would never have done it in WCW. They never would have done it in WCW.
Well, by the time he got there, yeah, he had gotten a reputation. But in the WWF, why is it? Because to me, man, he was over. He was more over with me and most of the people I knew than Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart ever were. We liked him more. I never understood why it didn't happen.
I'll tell you, because Hall was very abrasive backstage. He spoke his mind. If he didn't like an angle, he would come up with something else. He came up with something equally as entertaining as what was pitched to him, but he didn't like a lot of his booking and said what he had to say. And he was a bit of a malcontent, but his star power was undeniable.
It was undeniable.
Tag belts and intercontinental championships, U.S. titles, things like that. He never got the big ride. Andre won the championship, the heavyweight championship, and gave it to Ted DiBiase.
Yes, and called
Andre should have had he should have had the belt. He should have had that belt maybe for 1 or 2 months to build somebody up, not as a rematch for Hogan, but to build up another contender and really make another guy. That's what they should have done with that. And I agree that Piper should have had the championship belt.
So those are the two. So those are the 2 guys you think should have been it.
I should have been Andre. That way he could have made a guy outside of Hogan, and Piper. Maybe Andre could have made Piper. Piper could have knocked him out with a right cross. Who knows? Because Piper was a boxer. I've got a list of Hulk Hogan tall tales. Would you like to hear a couple of these?
Oh, God. Let's have a couple of these.
I've got 25 of these bastards, if you'd like to indulge. Hogan said he partied with John Belushi after WrestleMania 2, despite the fact that WrestleMania 2 was in 1986 and Belushi died in 1982.
I was going to say, yeah, he was gone a long time. What the? Maybe he met his brother. He might have met his brother.
It might have been Jim Belushi.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's do a shout out right now. A shout out to Ricky Libbs. AEW's like watching The View. You got that straight, pal. Here's a shout out to a man that you never want to cross. The great Mike, the Enforcer Digital.
So what are some of the other tall tales?
What's that? Oh, Hogan claims he invented entrance music when he had the idea to come to the ring. He had the idea to come to the ring with the song "Eye of the Tiger."
Oh,
in 1982. In 82. Although Gorgeous George came to the ring in, I think, 1940. Pomp and Circumstance.
The Pomp and
the
Circumstance.
Randy Savage theme.
And did you know that Randy Savage years later?
The Freebirds came out to Bayard Street, USA, like 3 years before Hogan used Eye of the Tiger.
But did you know Randy Savage said he wished he never used Pomp and Circumstance?
Really?
Yeah, I saw an interview. He said he wished he'd have never done it because he felt like it wasn't honoring Gorgeous George. He felt like he should have asked for it, and he just did it. So that's just one of those little side notes I caught one time. I was like, wow, really? You know, that song? It's a fate. Nobody owns that song.
Rick Libb says, Hawk and Joe Biden sound like the same person now. It's getting close. It's getting close, Rick. It really is.
Listen, brother.
We're going to build back better, brother. Hogan claims the Rolling Stones and Lars Ulrich of Metallica both wanted him as their bass player. Can't you see a nice golden brown Hulk Hogan standing in the middle of the pasty white Rolling Stones playing bass?
6'7", roided out of his mind. Yeah, brother. We're going to play one.
Lars Ulrich told Howard Stern that he's not a wrestling fan. He never spoke with Hogan. I don't know Hulk Hogan. I don't know enough about him. I'm not a huge wrestling fan. I certainly have no recollection of doing anything with Hulk Hogan.
Well, no shit, because he didn't. I also heard in the interview that he said he turned down the Terminator part in Terminator 2. My man's out there. Hogan's out there, dude.
Man. Remember the movie The Wrestler?
Oh,
the movie The Wrestler? He claims he was offered the lead role in the movie The Wrestler by director Darren Aronofsky. Aronofsky denies Hogan was even considered for the role. The role went to Mickey Rourke, who won a Golden Globe for his portrayal of Randy the Ram Robinson.
What's a couple more here?
Here's a movie, another movie one, movie related. Hogan was the star of those 2 cinematic masterpieces, Mr. Nanny and Santa.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. God.
He claims in his autobiography he rewrote both scripts entirely, only to have his writing credits stolen from him by the WGA, the Writers Guild.
Dude, it's the chair shots, man. It's either dementia or chair shots at this point in time. I don't know which one it is.
Are you aware that after he slammed Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3,
Oh, this
Andre
one I know.
died?
Yeah.
Andre died a
Yes.
few days later.
I heard this bullshit.
And he was
Andre
600
the
pounds,
Giant-
don't you know?
Yes.
600 pounds.
He was 700 pounds the next time he slammed him, I heard. He just never stopped growing.
Now, a lot of the newer fans haven't seen what we old school fans have seen from old tapes of Harley Race, Jerry Lawler, Kamala, a couple Japanese guys body slamming Andre the Giant way before Hogan ever did it.
Way before.
Way before. And Andre, by the way, didn't die till 1993.
No, he died 3 days later. He died 3 days later. The guy we saw was a different Andre.
It was a doppelganger, just like it was.
It was. Totally was.
Just like Kerry Von Erich was the Ultimate Warrior when the Ultimate Warrior died the first time.
Ron, I don't know if he was doing mushrooms, but he was doing something, buddy.
He was doing something. He also sat next to Kerry Von Erich on a flight to Japan 72 hours before Kerry killed himself.
Yeah, I heard that one too. That one I have heard. Just what is with my man, dude? Why is he out there?
I have no idea. He tries to remain relevant, and he's not. He's 70 years old. It's not easy for a guy. Look, dude, it's not easy for a guy who's one of the biggest stars in the world, and he still is one of the biggest stars in the world. He can walk. He probably couldn't walk down the street without being mobbed.
I'd agree.
People saying,
I'd agree.
That's freaking Hulk Hogan. He's not as big as he used to be. He's his back is very frail from 11 back surgeries. If you could believe,
I think he's lost like 4 or 5 inches in height because of it. Something crazy like that.
Probably, yeah, with the removing the bad disc and things like that, and fusions and all that. I'm sure he has. And as you get older, your body loses calcium, so you shrink a little bit. So he's right. Maybe he's 5'9" now. Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But in an attempt to remain relevant, he makes up all these tall tales. Don. That's the only thing I can think of.
Some of that stuff is just way out there, man. I can't even get into it anymore. I mean, you've put some whoppers out there, buddy. That's some whoppers. Next thing he's gonna tell us that he talked to Moses. He was there when he parted the Red Sea. He gave him the staff. Let me tell you something, Moses, brother. You gotta slam that staff down, man. You gotta mean it, bro.
I can see it now. You gotta tell that seat apart, MFer. Let me tell you something, Jesus.
Leg drop 1, 2, 3.
That's it.
Oh,
He claimed that he and Vince McMahon were offered to buy UFC as partners, but they turned it down.
Now I do know that Shane McMahon was all over Vince to buy the UFC when it was available, and he didn't do it. Yeah, and Vince would not do it. Can you imagine? Holy cow!
Unbelievable. Hogan claimed that the NWO was his idea, and his NWO would have included the Nasty Boys, of course, and the Booty Man. The Booty Man.
Well, I wonder how his wife's doing today.
The Booty Man?
Oh, yeah.
You ever see that movie, A Man Called Horse?
No.
You never saw that?
I have not seen that.
Where the guy's got his shirt off. He's in an Indian sweat lodge, and he's hanging up by these meat hooks from the ceiling by his nipples.
Yeah.
By his nipples. A Man Called Horse.
Yeah, I'm not watching that one, man.
Missy Beefcake is Mrs. Booty Man is drying out right now.
I can't.
Suspended from the ceiling of a shed on the Beefcake property. Hulk Hogan claimed that Elvis Presley was a big fan of his, despite the fact that Elvis died in 1977.
Dude, he's got so many. He has so many.
It's amazing what comes out of this guy's mouth. He claimed to be scouted by both the New York Yankees and the Cincinnati Reds after being a pitching star at high school baseball.
Mike Digital's Guinness.
This is to compete with Randy Savage, who was legit signed by the Cincinnati Reds minor league.
Legit was, and played a little bit of ball. So Yeah, I saw the Hulk Hogan thing, man. I wanted to cover that real quick. And then there's something else I saw this week. Little poll I saw on Twitter. It
What's that?
said, this is kind of what got my attention. It said, poll, JR was just as important to the Attitude Era as Stone Cold and The Rock. And I kind of take exception with that. Like I take a lot of exception with that. JR is, I'm not taking anything away from JR. He is the best play-by-play guy in the history of professional wrestling. I can't take that away from him.
Mm-hmm.
But you had two of the hottest stars in the history of the business at the same time. And don't forget, JR wasn't there the whole time. He had his bouts with cerebral palsy, and that's when they started bringing in
what kind of palsy?
Cerebral palsy. What is it?
Bell's palsy.
No, Bell's palsy. Bell's palsy. Sorry.
It'd be a different broadcast if you had cerebral palsy.
Yeah, it would. Sorry. My bad. Too many of these already, buddy. So when he had his Bell's palsy, they were bringing in Michael Cole to fill in. And that's honestly, I think that's why Michael Cole got absolutely hated from the get-go, was because he was replacing a legend. Like, that's impossible, man.
Absolutely.
It's just like in sports. Unless the next guy you're bringing in for, say, your favorite team's quarterback, unless he's equal to or better than the guy you just lost, you're going to hate him immediately. And he can be a good quarterback, but you're not going to like him because that's not your guy. So the Bell's palsy thing, I just feel like JR was there. And again, great storyteller. But I felt like they could have had a lot of different guys, and it would have been just fine without him. But thank God we had him.
The analogy I like to look at in JR's role in the Attitude Era was, it's like you're driving a Cadillac Escalade fully loaded, a beautiful, beautiful black Cadillac Escalade, and JR is the auto detailer that makes that thing shine.
And he did. And he really did.
Yes.
But I just, that was
I wouldn't say he was instrumental because of the confluence of talent that came together in that Attitude Era. I would say that the guys who really made that Attitude Era in terms of the office would be Briscoe and Patterson.
Patterson in the finishes. Patterson in the finishes, man.
Right. And he booked the entire Royal Rumble every year for years. Briscoe was a talent scout. JR was a talent scout behind the scenes. And Patterson was the finish guy. He decided how everything was going to end, how the feuds were going to end, match by match progression and all that stuff. It wasn't a lot of moving parts in this. We could go in for an hour about who was responsible for the greatness of the Attitude Era. And if you talk to Vince Russo, it was all him.
So I hear. So yeah.
Let's not get started with Vince Russo. What do you got next?
I'm not. Did you watch Raw this week?
Yes, I did.
So Raw was up against a really good preseason football game. And, we say it every year, and come Monday night, and those Monday night games come on, you see 300,000 and 400,000 people disappear from their ratings. And this was a good preseason game, and you saw it again. 250,000 people disappeared from it, man. Gone. Just gone. They pulled, I think it was a 159, which isn't terrible, but that's not what they've been doing lately. And, while I like Raw, it's getting repetitive, Johnny. It's getting repetitive.
It absolutely is. It's the same the same Judgment Day versus any combination of Cody, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn.
Yeah, and some random guy sometimes. It's either a trios or it's a tag team match. I don't know what they're doing.
It was Rollins. Now Rollins has his hands full with Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yes.
That should be a good match.
Sami Zayn came out and they were in Canada again. Man, Canada loves their Canadian wrestlers. I mean, that guy, he might have gotten the biggest pop of the night when he came out. They still love that dude. He's still over like Rover in Canada, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it was about this, but I wasn't a big fan of the opening segment. I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's the same guy saying the same thing every week. Maybe. I did watch the Gunther and Gable match.
Fantastic.
I thought it was pay-per-view good. That's what I actually wrote down. This was pay-per-view good.
Mm-hmm.
And he won via count-out. And did you see when he hit the turnbuckle? Gable, that is?
Yes.
The whole damn ring move. He hit that thing like Bret Hart used to take it face on back in the 90s. I mean, took it face on, man. Just bam.
Gable's a little dude, but he's ripped as hell, and he knows his way around catch wrestling. And I wouldn't want to tangle with that guy. He's tough as nails. Don't let the Shorty G, the ex Shorty G nickname, fool you. The guy's he's got some credentials.
I enjoyed it, and then we had Ripley came
you know
out.
What? Hang on a second. I want to ask you a question, Don. Gunther versus Gable. How do you think that got put together? How do you come up with something like that? Did Gunther say backstage to Triple H and the guys who write the show, I want to wrestle that kid. I want to wrestle him.
Well, all right, so you're talking about major mid-card guys, right? There's how many would you say are really big and over right now, right? You've got LA Knight, which we'll talk about in a minute. He's super freaking over. Gunther is super over as the heel.
Gunther could be a main event. He could be a main event heavyweight champion.
He could, and he probably will before it's all said and done.
Yes.
But do you put Seth Rollins in that mid-major category? Is he a major? Because I don't know how to take that title yet. I really don't.
I'm not feeling major vibes coming from Seth Rollins. I'm really not.
That entrance is over.
The song's over. The song is over. The theme song's over.
It's over though. I mean, you can't.
It is over.
You can't deny it. They go, and he can put on a good match. He can put on a hell of a match.
He can put on a great match. He needs to be regular Seth Rollins. He needs to be regular Seth Rollins. When he go ahead. You
wonder how it happened. I honestly think they just listened to the crowd and said, okay, Gable's getting over. It's time to put him in a mid-major event with somebody who's on the way up that we can get a rub off on both of them. And this hurt. It didn't hurt anybody in this match, right? Gable didn't get hurt because he won by a count out, and it took no heat off of Gunther, in my opinion. That's just what I thought. So my girl came out. We got another Rhea Ripley match, and she won in a fantastic match. You know, it wasn't long. It's exactly what it should have been. And then your girl came out.
Raquel Rodriguez.
What did you think?
I can't wait to see the match. I think it's going to be a great match. They fought in NXT, and that was nothing in NXT. But they're really, really pushing this meeting of the two to be something. And I think with the writers that they have with Triple H behind the wheel, this is going to be something special. Payback? Is that? Yeah, Payback.
Yeah, that's what they announced it. They're going
like a week or two.
I think it's next week. It's next week.
Okay. Wembley Stadium?
I want to say it is. 90,000 seats have been sold. Watch out.
Yeah. It's going to be at the Falkman Stadium in Kenscocken, Ohio. I don't know. Where exactly is it? Well, we got Ron here. Ron,
yeah.
Rumors Giovanni is going to turn face and help Gable win.
I could see that. I could see it.
I don't think they would put the IC title in Gable.
How long is his streak at now? Has he passed the Honky Tonk Man yet?
Soon.
So until he passes him, it's not going to get switched, I don't think.
Now you got me thinking. Let me go ahead and take a look.
Well, while you're looking that up, I'll just say I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to see Rhea Ripley and somebody of her equal size getting in the ring together. Your boy Tozawa and The Miz had a match, and out came LA Knight. Has he won a match this year? I swear to God, I think his record is like 1-13 or something.
Something it was 1-33, I think.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous. It's insane. Like the dude is just the fact that he's still in the spotlight that he is and he keeps losing it just shows you how well the guy can work on the mic at this point in time, if you ask me. He can work on the mic so well and still get heat and still piss people off. He can lose almost every match and no one cares. They still want to boo the hell out of the guy. So that was cool. And then we saw Trish Stratus. And a messy segment is all I can say about it. What did you take out of that, man? Because I couldn't handle it, man. It felt sloppy with everything that happened.
The problem with Trish Stratus is she is a heel, trying to be a heel, and no one wants to boo Trish Stratus. They want her to be a face because she is she's looked upon with some reverence as to what she did during the Attitude Era and being at the time in the Divas era where they were just swimsuit models, basically. And she was a fitness model. That's where she got her start.
Yes.
She actually learned how to wrestle. She was taught how to wrestle and trained for it.
By Hulk
she
Hogan.
wouldn't break her neck. And by Hulk Hogan, he said, that Stratus girl's got something, brother.
Come here, girl. Leg drop. I'm going over. 1, 2, 3. I'm going over. What you gonna do, Trish, when I drop this big ass leg across you?
I'm glad you said leg, pal.
I was going with it. I didn't say the third leg.
Okay. By the way, Gunther needs another 159 days to break Honky Tonk Man's record of 454 recognized days.
So there's no way he's losing before then, because they want to get the Honky Tonk Man off that mantle of the longest run. Because the guy, he was a character, man. He wasn't. I don't know. I've never really liked the Honky Tonk Man. I didn't like him then, and the fact that he held that belt for so long is completely absurd to me.
They tried to make him, because of the Elvis mania that was sweeping the country. People love Elvis. They tried to make him into another Elvis Presley and have him become some sort of hillbilly babyface. And it didn't work. He was getting booed because of all of the Elvis shtick. So they decided to run with it. He became a heel, and just a chicken shit heel. And I think his greatest times were when he was paired with Greg Valentine as Rhythm and Blues. Greg
that
Valentine
was all right. Yeah.
Greg with the black dye job and the
it made sense though. I thought that would make sense. That made sense. I saw that.
Sherry as Peggy Sue.
Yes, it was awesome. That I liked, but him on his own, I couldn't get behind, man. So then we move along, and it's Piper and Chelsea had a squash match. They're trying to make those titles mean something and establish them as champions. So cool, whatever. Then they had the Judgment Day winning, and then they had a 3-way at the end. So we had 2 matches with the same teams twice, and out comes Rhodes and 6-man tag, and I don't care. Change the channel. I was like, I saw this a week ago. I saw it 2 weeks ago. I don't need to see it anymore. Got to do something with Cody Rhodes. Please start having him move towards Roman Reigns or something, man. I'm at the end of it here. I'm getting to the end.
He's on the wrong brand. They should have him on SmackDown. That's what they should do. Put
and
Cody
he should
back
stay there.
And stay there.
And he should stay there. Yes, I agree. So
if he's not going to challenge Seth, if he's not going to challenge Seth, a man he's beat 3 times for the, just in matches since he came to the WWE. If he's not going to challenge Seth for that belt, send him to SmackDown so he can.
I agree, man. I mean, do something. Make it count. Good God. So that was Raw. And then we got something else that happened this week in the world of wrestling that was tragic. We lost a legend and we lost an up-and-coming star. And that was Terry Funk was the favorite wrestler of a lot of people that we know on this platform. They took it hard, man. It was like losing a family member for some of these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, when you grow up watching somebody your whole life and idolizing them and they're your favorite guy, I get it, man. Like, I get it. You feel like you lost a friend, not just somebody on TV. That guy mattered to so many people. And I didn't grow up in Texas, so I didn't see all of his early days stuff. But I'd like to hear from somebody that lives in Texas, because it's always been my thought process that there were 2 factions in Texas that ruled the wrestling land. If you weren't a Funk or a Von Erich, you didn't matter, I don't think. I mean, that's just the way I've seen it. That's what I've heard. That's what I've seen now in retrospect. If you weren't a Funk or you weren't a Von Erich, I mean, you just didn't matter in that area. You had to be one of those guys. And, Terry Funk was the NWA world champion when it mattered. I mean, when it mattered. Like, a lot of people I don't think grasp that. He was the NWA world champ when it mattered.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. He started in 1965 working for his father's promotion, Dory Funk Sr., Western States Sports, down in Amarillo, Texas. His debut match was against Sputnik Monroe.
Really?
Which I never knew. Yeah. I'm reading it right now off the Wikipedia entry.
Mr. Memphis himself.
Yeah, Sputnik Monroe. A race relations pioneer, by the way. Sputnik
yes, he
Monroe.
was. Yes, he was.
Absolutely. And he really came into his own in 75 when he beat Jack Briscoe for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in Miami. When his His brother Dory was supposed to have that title shot, and he couldn't be there. He failed the show. So he held that belt for 14 months. He fought Briscoe, Dusty Rhodes, Carlos Rocha, Giant Baba, and Pat O'Connor. He went all around the world defending the NWA Championship. Australia, Canada, Japan, Singapore, and he lost in Toronto to the first man to slam Andre the Giant, handsome Harley Race.
Harley Race.
I wish I could have seen that match live.
Did he ever get the title back after that, or was it just that 14-month run and it was over?
I'm looking right now.
I think that was it. I think that was the one run he had with it, and I don't know that he ever won it back. At least not a recognized run, anyway.
That was it, because after that, he had a rematch, and Funk had him in the Indian. I'm not Funk. Harley Race had him in the Indian Death leg lock, which I've never known that someone would pass out from that. But Terry Funk passed out. He refused to submit. He passed out, and the match was stopped, and Race was the winner. Then he went down to the CWA, Continental Wrestling Association, and feuded with Jerry Lawler, and has some crazy matches at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. The empty arena match with just Lance Russell, the announcer, and a cameraman and a photographer present.
That was bad. That was bad.
Yes.
That was bad.
Then he went to All Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, I know he was in Japan for a good little while. I mean, he went back and forth there a bunch of times. I can tell you the first time I remember seeing him was when he got into it with Ric Flair in WCW. That's the first time I remember seeing the great Terry Funk live.
He was great in his role in a color commentator.
Yeah.
And then he was a judge for the Flair Steamboat match with Pat O'Connor and a couple other guys. He was the judge. I think Red Bastien was even a judge for that.
I just remember after the match, he was like, I don't want any hard feelings. I'm just joking around with you. Put her there. And he put his hand out and then bam, right across Ric Flair's face, and the whole place went crazy. And he's beating the hell out of him. He throws him over the barricade. He starts ripping the barricade up and down, throws him on the table, and pile drives him right into it. What an angle.
You got to say it for me in that Funk voice. Ric Flair is a horse-tooth jackass.
Ric Flair's a horse-tooth jackass. My favorite, though, still is always going to be the Shotgun Saturday Night. Your mother's a whore. What the hell?
Oh, my God. Some of those promos he would cut. He talked about
amazing.
Mick Foley. He said, what do you call Mick Foley? When your father looked at you, you were born with the ass like a satchel. I love you, satchel ass. I don't know word for word, but I know he called Mick Foley satchel ass. Mick Foley was built like a bowling pin. But
you thought he was crazy. You really thought Terry Funk was out of his mind,
dude.
You thought he was absolutely insane.
First time I saw him was in the WWF in '85 when they were going to put him in a big run with all their top stars. Before I think it's before they brought in Dory as Hoss. Dory Funk Jr.'s brother was Hoss Funk. They were the Funk brothers as a tag team in the middle of the '80s for the WWE. But Terry Funk came in, and I'm thinking, who the hell is this mook coming down to the ring? I had no idea who he was. And he had the towel, he had the chaps, he had the cowboy hat, he had the Clint Eastwood wrap around, like from a fistful of dollars, and he had the branding iron.
That thing, dude.
He's going to hit somebody with the branding iron.
Yes, that thing.
He would like almost go over the rail, the barricade, to go after the fans when they were bad-mouthing. And then when he's getting his ass handed to him by Hogan or somebody in the ring, he'd slide out of the ring, and he'd be half goofy. He would like shadow box.
Yeah. And
then fall over. And he'd get back up again. He'd shake the barricade up and down and just growl and scream. And he's like a wild man. And he said, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
Nothing. He was selling a story, man.
Fantastic stuff, man. He was one of the best. You actually believed, as he said, he was middle-aged and crazy.
The one thing that you just brought to my attention was some of the ways he would get knocked out of the ring. It just looked like the wildest shit ever, some of the ways he would fall out. Because he wouldn't fall out to where it looked like, he was going to roll out of the ring. He just fall ass over tea kettle out the back, sometimes through the middle ropes and get hung up and back. It was craziest shit you've ever seen, man. Kids, if you didn't see him, go watch his matches. He had some great ones.
He went through the middle ropes head first and somehow he hooked his foot between the top rope and the middle rope. So he's hanging by his foot. I think Dick Worley, the referee at the time, who looked like a boxer / cab driver, had the smashed in nose. He's over there shaking the ropes trying to get Funk loose. And Hogan's like pointing, posing, doing all the Hogan shtick. And Funk's just screaming at the top of his lungs. It was hilarious. But he would put on a show, man. If you were going to go see Terry Funk in a match, you were thoroughly sports entertained.
You were going to get your money's worth.
You were getting your freaking money's worth. And they had a resurgence in ECW.
Yeah.
Which was amazing.
I remember.
Amazing that the man would do that to himself. Barbed wire
50-year-old man jumping, 50-year-old man jumping and doing moonsaults off a ladder, man.
On top of a pile of folding chairs. Do you remember? Said somebody throw me a chair, and the whole crowd started folding the folding chairs up and throwing them.
A billion chairs comes in the ring,
and he's like this, dodging chairs.
Bad idea, Terry.
Who was the guy he was wrestling at the time? Because he piled them all up on top of the guy.
Was it Tommy Dreamer? I really can't remember.
It might have been, or Raven.
It might have been. I can't remember. I just remember the chair spot and thinking, okay, that went a little too far.
And then he did a moonsault off the top turnbuckle, went to the pile of chairs with the guy underneath. It hurt him more than it hurt the guy underneath.
Complete lunatic. I also remember seeing him in Beyond the Mat. Do you remember seeing him in that?
Absolutely.
When he had his retirement match with Bret Hart, one of his 15,000 retirement matches. And that was a hell of a match. And, Bret Hart was going to do the favors. He said, no, you always go out on your back. And it was a schmoz finish to wear the roll up, and they both had their shoulders down, and Bret got his up. I mean, I love Terry Funk, man. God bless his soul. Love the guy. And then we also lost another guy this week, Bray Wyatt. Mm-hmm. And that man was too young to go.
When I saw pictures, it had to be a family portrait of him and his wife, JoJo. Her father, by the way, is Jose Offerman from Major League Baseball. I forgot who he played for. I think he was an infielder, wasn't he? I
can't remember
Reds?
the name. The name came straight
I know
away.
He played for the Mets for like a year. But Jose Offerman was her father, or is her father. I'm acting like he's dead or she's dead. But I saw pictures of JoJo and Bray Wyatt and their two small children. I said small children because she gave birth to one, and a year later, she popped out another one. So those kids are very, very little. Broke my heart to see that, man. Really.
He had some really wild moments in the WWF. Excuse me, WWE. Sorry, kids. I'm a little bit older, and it's really hard to say even after 20 years. But he had some moments there. My wife loved his entrance. She couldn't. She thought he was the next Undertaker as far as his entrance went. Every time he came on, she was like, I've got to see this guy. She loved his character. Everything about the guy.
The initial run with the Wyatt family, Harper and Rowan and him, classic.
So good.
Classic. And then when they added the fourth man, Braun Strowman, who really couldn't do much, but they had this huge guy down at NXT. So they had to do something with him. They brought him up as the black sheep of the family because he wore the black sheep mask. And it's good to have like a huge heater. Good to have a Freebird faction like that in some case somebody gets hurt. You always got two guys who can wrestle for a tag belt or whatever. But Bray touched their lives so immensely that they regarded that guy as a family member, as a brother. John Huber, who was Brody Lee. Luke Harper. He was Luke Harper in WWE in that faction. He regarded Bray as a family member, and Bray regarded him as a family member. They were that close, like actual brothers. Same thing with Rowan. I don't know about Strowman. Didn't hear Strowman talk about it that much. But Rowan, when John Huber died, Brody Lee died, he was devastated. And he was devastated when Bray went too. But
it's funny you say that. Braun Strowman, they showed Braun Strowman and another wrestler this week were getting Bray Wyatt tattooed on their body. So I'd say he meant a lot to him.
There was 5 people. Shotzi got one. And that Sia tattoo she's got, I think she got it on her shin. Mike Fee or Bill Fee. Bill Fee is his name. He's the head of creative. He's like a creative director underneath Triple H. He's the guy who booked a lot of Bray Wyatt's angles, and he moved up the food chain. That guy was really good friends with Bray. And he was devastated when they got the news, of course. Well, who wasn't if you've worked with that man? Who wasn't devastated by it? Because everybody loved him. No one had a bad thing to say about him, except for Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon just couldn't figure the kid out. He
didn't get it. I don't know. I don't know why he didn't get it.
But the ideas are so innovative.
But it was wild stuff. Wild, man.
Right. You had, originally it was going to be Uncle Harper.
Yeah.
And Uncle Howdy as the 2 masked men with the crazy hats that were going to come in. And we didn't know whether they were going to feud with Bray Wyatt in this latest incarnation or they were going to be partners with Bray Wyatt. It looked like they were going to feud. But at the end, Uncle Howdy, who, by the way, was Bo Dallas, Bray Wyatt's real-life brother, Uncle Howdy actually helped him with who did he fight? He got into an in-ring altercation. It wasn't an actual match. Bobby Lashley? No.
I can't remember.
There was a tag team that were pissing over Bray Wyatt during one of his promos. Uncle Howdy came out, and they made short work of the team that picked the fight with Bray Wyatt. But his last match that he wrestled was with LA Knight. He did a lot of promos afterwards.
Yeah.
He did a little schmoz thing with a little brawl with Bobby Lashley. That was going to be the next feud. And then he got sick. And things went downhill.
It's truly tragic.
If you would have listened to Dave Meltzer, wrestling analyst, he said that there was a disagreement when creative with the character, just between him and Vince, because that's right at the time when Vince came back from his legal problems, and back in February. And they had some words, and Bray Wyatt supposedly took his ball and went home. That's the way that Meltzer reported. Turns out he was just sick, Dave.
I feel awful. I mean, I can't even go into anymore, man. I feel so bad right now about the whole thing. The guy, I mean, 36 years young, man. 36 years young.
Way too young. Now, I will say that creatively, this last go round for him wasn't the best. A lot of the promos were the same thing over and over again. I'm a broken man, but I'm getting better. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of myself. I'm afraid of what I'm going to do, what I'm going to become, blah, 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 blah. Rinse and repeat. It was just
but that first promo back, though, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Couldn't get enough of it. So I'm trying to check the All In to see if there's any updates because I think the main event is on. I'm looking now. Looking. Trios championship match. Who won this thing? The Acclaimed and Gunn defeated the House of Black. So we have new Trios champions. And that's all they got right now. Main event's on now. Mike says he thought the Bray and Matt Hardy stuff had potential. It did.
That's when Matt Hardy was in, and he was doing the crazy, what would you call that phase of Matt Hardy's career? The deletion era of Matt Hardy?
Yes. And Mike Digital says MJF won. So, yay! We don't have to cover more AEW. We're done. Yay!
Because MJF won. Amazing.
This shit they put on Wednesday and Saturday, I'm not even commenting on it this week. It was total ass. It was trash. It was a bunch of schmoz finishes, people running in, 6 ways everywhere, junk. Whole show was junk for 2 nights this week. I hope Collision gets better again because the last 2 or 3 shows have been complete ass. I have no interest in watching either one of these products anymore. And if Raw doesn't stop with the nonsense, I'm getting tired of that as well. Like, I'm about to get to where we start watching old Starcades and WWF WrestleManias when they mattered and they were better. Because what's going on right now is just, I feel we're here at a high. Are we about to come off this mountain peak on a damn ski coming straight down?
I would rather watch Brooklyn Brawler versus Baron Mikel Cicluna than a Jungle Boy match from AEW. That's how I feel right now.
Yeah, I'm at my wits' end, Bottles. I'm at my wits' end. You got anything else for us this week? Because that's really all I got. This week was just so bad in wrestling. As a fan, it was pissing me off. It was pissing me off as a fan.
SmackDown, the tribute show.
Yeah, but it's a tribute show, and it's one of those deals, man, that when it's a tribute show, I just sort of cast it off with all the other ones. You know what it's going to be. And they're saying they're going to keep doing it for Bray Wyatt. Like, Raw is going to have something for him as well, from what I heard.
I think they should, because a lot of people from Raw couldn't make it to SmackDown. Alexa Bliss wanted to be there. She's pregnant right now. She married Ryan Cabrera, who had a hit with a song called True back in 2000. And apparently he invested his money well, because he hasn't done anything ever since. So she's living a life of luxury with Ryan Cabrera. She's Lexi Cabrera now. But she said that she tried to arrange a flight to SmackDown to appear, because she was a big part of the Firefly Funhouse, with what was the doll she had? Do you remember the name
I honestly
of that doll?
don't remember.
The evil doll came out of the whole thing. She was
just,
on a swing
I didn't
set.
like any of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she was a big part of his angle, and part of the many angles he would do with the Firefly Funhouse. And she was upset that she couldn't get a flight in. So don't be surprised if you see her on Raw, wherever it's originating from, on Monday, so she could be there. And a few other people are going to go and say, hey, this is what's going on. We love Bray Wyatt, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Well, MJF won the main event in what was called a helter-skelter of bumps and nonsense by the ref. And Mike Digital says he did the Eddie Guerrero finish, where he fakes out the chair shot and lays down. So that's what I expect. That's what I'd come to expect from something like that. Copy what was done just a few years ago while it's still in people's memories. They should go. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, they should go. If you want to get something that is a true, finish that people might not remember, start digging through the 70s and 80s for some of those finishes. Because the 2000s, people still pretty fresh in their minds with the Eddie Guerrero stuff. Like, anything in the past 20 years, most fans are going to know what that was. Go dig in the archives of the 70s and 80s. There's some shit out there that hasn't been done in a long time.
Absolutely. Well, everything that's old is new again in professional wrestling.
Yes.
That's the old saying that they used to have. Everything old is new again. You can just recycle the same old things with just change the faces. Don't shit all over a good angle from the past, because they were good angles back then.
They were great.
And you just have to tweak them a bit for a modern audience. That would be fantastic. Although I wouldn't want to see Miss Atlanta Lively again. I wouldn't want to see that.
No. I'll hard pass on that.
Yeah, no Lasertron, no New Breed.
Something should never be repeated. That's one of them. Don't ever pull that bullshit again. Lord,
no Missing Link.
No. Oh my God. What that dude in the Mid-South stuff, man, even today watching the replays of it, what the hell were they thinking? What made him the missing link?
He made that work. He got it over.
I'm going to shave my hair weird and wear some bad paint face mask. What the hell was that guy?
He got it over. But what's crazier? A Luchasaurus or the missing link?
They're the same equally bad ideas. They're both equally bad.
But I would say that Dewey Robertson, the missing link, was more over than what Luchasaurus is. The Luchasaurus should just take the mask off and say, hey, my name is Mike Schoenstein, whatever his name is. I have no idea. My name's Mike Schoenstein, and this is
And I'm not really a dinosaur. I'm not really a dinosaur.
And he should just pour a bottle of water over his face with a towel and wipe off the freaking makeup that's underneath and say, hey, this is me. I'm sorry I did all that.
The book of bad ideas.
Larry goes, that means they'd have to watch real professional wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, no dice, Larry. They're never going to watch that shit.
I also like to say the Jungle Boy CM Punk fight backstage today is a work. Mark my words. Mike Digital
From left
a
field.
little shade towards the Jungle Boy Punk fight.
I don't know. I hope it's not. God knows. Mike, you're killing my dreams as a fan of having some real heat in this shit.
Did you cover everything? Mike Digital. I'm a shark. I'm not a shark. I'm a man. John Temple.
Yeah. My God. See,
Luchasaurus could do it that way. I'm not a dinosaur. I'm not a stegosaurus. I'm not a tyrannosaurus.
So I can tell you what I'm going to watch here soon. It's going to be
What's
the
that?
special on Roddy Piper they did a few years ago. It's been a while since I watched it, and I think I'm going to go back and watch it. But it starts off with Vince McMahon acting like he's talking on the phone with Roddy Piper. He's like, "What's up, pal? Yeah, it's hot down there. You say it's hot? Oh yeah, you saved me a seat. Oh, okay. When am I coming? Okay, that's cool. All right, I'll see you then, bud." And he throws his phone. So I'm going to watch that. Then he goes, "Roddy Piper's not really in hell, people. It's a joke. Ha ha ha." So I'm going to watch that tonight. That's gonna cleanse my palate for all of the bad wrestling I had to watch this week because it was all bad. Rhea Ripley was my only high spot. That really was.
There's going to be some more bad reality wrestling coming up very, very soon on Netflix. There's a show called Wrestlers coming up on Netflix. It's a docu-series.
Oh, shit.
Reality series. It's
Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Ohio Valley Wrestling. Which
yes,
is
I saw that.
And run by Al Snow. Now, they're having so many monetary problems and getting people to the shows. He had to sell part of the organization off to a guy who owns a triumvirate of used car dealerships in the Ohio Valley area. So you're going to see how they build stars. You're going to see how Al Snow trains people. And it's coming next weekend, I believe, on Netflix.
I'll watch for that.
It's called Wrestlers. That's the name of the show.
There was a time when Ohio Valley Wrestling had all the big stars. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like when they had some other people in charge outside of the WWE, it seemed like it was putting out better wrestlers faster. Might just be me. I don't know. I just know that when Jim Cornette was there, he had some really big guys come through there, man, and made them humongous stars. John Cena, Batista, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton. They all came through there, and he trained every one of them. I don't know. I understand why.
Rico Constantino, a 40-year-old, came through the Ohio Valley Wrestling, a 40-year-old man, and became a hairdresser in the WWE. He was the on-screen hairdresser for Billy and Chuck. Remember they were going to have a gay wedding? And then Rico actually became an on-screen talent. He actually wrestled, and he was good. Very good. But he got tired of the bumps. He got tired of being paid less, and he retired. He joined the Las Vegas Police Department. That's where he currently is right now. Is Head the other coach with Al Snow? Yes.
We can hope. That's all I've got this week, Johnny. I don't know what you have.
I'm going to say one last thing. I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh, shit.
If you could mix up the belts right now in AEW, you could put a championship belt, the championship belt, on anybody right now in AEW. Who would you give it to?
I'm not taking it off. I'm not taking that off MJF. He's the biggest. If he's not CM Punk star level, he's right there with him. MJF is the guy that should have that title right now.
The main event of All In should have been MJF versus CM Punk.
Yeah, but let's not do that.
What about the tag titles? Leave them with FTR, or would you put them
that's where so here's my thing with that, right? I said this a couple of weeks ago. The trios title needs to go to Punk and FTR. And I don't care what they do with the tag titles, but that's a legit three-way matchup that I'd watch every week. I think it makes the most sense to me. Because those trios titles mean all of jack shit right now. They mean nothing. They mean nothing. I don't care. I've said it. Name the last trios match that you watched with those titles before today, or that you heard of.
In AEW, probably would have been the Death Triangle. Pac, Penta, and what's the other guy's name?
I have no freaking clue. Paco too. I have no idea, dude. I have no idea. That's what I mean. They don't matter. Because they had the last time they had a significance was what, back in December through January, I think, when they had the best of 7 series.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Those titles mean nothing. But that's what I would do to give them some prestige. That thing that Pockets has, I could care less about that title. It's a made-up title. It means nothing. The TNT title never gets defended. I never see it. I don't know. I know that the Dinosaur has it, but Christian is the one walking around with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
the TBS title went to Statlander.
Yeah.
They took it off of Jade Cargill. I guess she's got a case of the asses because she has been on TV since she lost that belt over a month ago. She's sitting it out. So I think she's just riding her contract out. I wouldn't be surprised if she's just got a few more months left on the contract. She's going to ride it out and go, you know where, up north.
We'll see. She ain't ready in the ring yet. I can tell you that.
Not ready in the ring, but hey, that never stopped anybody up in WWE from nobody in Titan Sports ever got stopped from not being ready in the ring.
You're right.
Look at Hogan. Hogan wasn't ready in the ring when he came in. Leg drop, clothesline, body slam, punch, kick. That's all he knew how to do. Not a lot. Well,
he was trying to get that Terminator 2 role at the time. Had to turn that down.
Right. And he couldn't play on Injustice for All. He couldn't play on that because he had to go do a 400-day world tour that year.
Yeah.
So, yeah. WWE.
That's all I got today.
WWE.
What about it?
How would you rearrange the belts?
Oh, that's a better one.
You're the booker.
I'm the booker. I'm keeping that Intercontinental title on until that Honky Tonk Man thing is done.
Right. That's what I would do.
They want Roman Reigns to hold on to that title and break whatever record is up next.
San Martino, I believe.
Yeah, but that's win, though. Like, win. I would have him I'm not kidding. I'd have him drop it to Cody Rhodes at Survivor Series. I would start building Survivor Series after this next pay-per-view, and that's where I would be going. That's where I'm going with that. Cody Rhodes should be the next one. And Cody doesn't have to have a long run with it. He's just got to get to WrestleMania with it, and then he can drop it to somebody. I don't care. But he's got to have the title. That's me. I think they're going to wait until WrestleMania, though, and that's going to be a long haul. That's another 6 months off. That's shit, even more than that, isn't it? 4? So, yeah, 8 months off. You're losing steam with the Bloodline feud. You've got to do something with that. The U.S. title has meant very little the past 4 months. Ever since WrestleMania, it's meant nothing.
Well, Theory had it, and they never did anything with him.
And they never did anything with him.
I don't think Theory is Triple H is a big fan of Theory. I think Vince was the big fan of Theory.
I like Theory. I think he's a good talker. I think he can work in the ring. But I would have. You've got to keep a title on a heel, right? Mm-hmm. And you can't give it to LA Knight. LA Knight can't get that belt. You got to keep it on a heel. So who do you give it to? One of.
What's a SmackDown title?
I don't even know.
Title now.
Yeah, but
who on there can get it? Well, Rey Mysterio's got it now.
Yeah, that shouldn't be happening. That should not be happening.
So I think what they'll do is they'll have Santos Escobar turn on Rey Mysterio, and they'll give that belt they'll have Escobar win that particular title. And he'll have a heel run. Rey will be out for a while, and LA Knight can challenge Santos Escobar for the title. He can chase him.
I'm gonna have to think about this one for the WWE. I might think about this one because I know I want those tag team titles off of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I want that gone.
Give them one set and put the other set back in SmackDown.
No, I
That's
don't
what
even
they
want 2 sets. Just they're one title, combine them, make a new belt. I don't care what they do, but get rid of that.
Right.
They got to drop that, man. It's gone nowhere since WrestleMania. I don't know. Let me think about this one. I can't think of that.
Exactly. Let's look in the comment section. It looks like Rick's out. He's got to run to dinner.
All right, Rick.
See you, Rick. The Undisputed Era should screw MJF for the title and make MJF chase the title. That's what should have happened today. That's what should have.
It should have.
Yes.
And it would have made the most sense.
They're probably going to wait until an episode of Dynamite where they can get.
No, I think ratings. It's all out.
All out.
It's going to be an all out.
Next weekend. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think you're going to see something like that happen.
Trios titles need to go in the trash, Larry. You're right about that.
Yes, you're right.
And Trios, TNT, TBS, RH Pure all need to go. And the All Atlantic, whatever that title is, needs to be their IC title. Well, that's what they wanted that to be, the All Atlantic, whatever title.
But then they made so many. They made so many.
These are all participation awards for the little engines they could, like Pockets and Statlander and who else? I don't freaking know. I'm exasperated talking about AEW.
I'm done.
I can't wait. I'm going to watch that. Folks, check out the YouTube AEW channel for the All In Media Scrum, because that should be good for some nice gossip.
I'm going to look into it here in just a minute.
Absolutely. Don, I think it's that time, buddy. Let's get the hell out of here.
Appreciate everybody that tuned in. Thank you guys, man. Always appreciate it.
Don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe. We need the money. Give us a thumbs up. Helps with the YouTube algorithm. Moves us along in your search bar, in your recommended videos. Check out what we have here on the channel. We've got some great interviews up with the daughter of Pampero Firpo, Mary Freed. We've got the great Guy Evans. I'm sorry, Guy Evans. Guy Davis before. Guy Evans, the man who wrote the book Nitro. A great interview with him. He was fantastic. And that's about it, buddy. Anything else?
I got one other thing to say before we go.
Okay.
It is not our fault that wrestling sucked this week and gave us so little to do.
That's true.
It sucks.
Next week, Gordon Soley saying so long from the Sunshine State.